Welcome to the Mischief Maker broadcast, where chaos, creativity, and common sense collide. Your host, Joel Freeman, was kicked out of high school in Alberta, Canada. He left home at 17 and hitchhiked around North America as a long-haired hippie and dope-smoking fool. He made a 180-degree change, becoming one of the first chaplains in the history of the NBA. As a professional speaker, Joel has traveled to well over 55 countries. His many books have been published in 28 foreign translations. Pieces from his Black History collection have been seen by millions at the United Nations and many other venues. And now, the Chief Mischief Maker himself, Dr. Joel A. Freeman.
Hi, Bigger Baby Joel here. You know, my mom told me to put ketchup on the shopping list. Now, she can't read anything. I guess that's what happens when you take things literally, right? Put ketchup. Anyway, it's such a joy to be with you right now. We've got a great show planned with a gentleman by the name of Will Crossley. Now, Will is the fifth CEO president of Piney Woods School in Mississippi, which has a storied career. A gentleman by the name of Lawrence C. Jones started this back in the early 1900s with one student under an oak tree, I believe it was. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, but we're going to major mostly on Will, his background. My goodness, he was previously a presidential appointee as a senior advisor in the Civil Rights Office for Civil Rights in the U.S. Department of Education, Chief Counsel for the Democratic Party National Committee. Formerly, he was an attorney at Wilmer, Cutler, Pickering, Hale, and Dorr. You know, that's a lot of people to be a partner with. Early in his career, Will was served as a federal judicial law clerk. He was awarded the Barton Postgraduate Legal Fellowship at Emory University School of Law. He holds a Bachelor of Arts with honors in public policy studies from the University of Chicago, a Master's of Education in Student Administration Planning and Social Policy from Harvard University, and a Juris Doctorate degree from the University of Virginia. You are in for a treat today, whenever you're watching this. Now, those of you who are live, you know who you are. There's a QR code above, and you can go there, and anybody can, alive or live, you can go there, and there's a link tree to all sorts of information, past guests, and all the rest of it. We have a YouTube channel. Of course, the Source Radio TV network is all part of it. When you come there, just please comment, subscribe. I don't know what else you can do there, but whatever else you can do, just do it while you're there and become a part of an ever-expanding, ever-growing Mischief Maker group. And of course, there's a definition of what is a Mischief Maker. A lot of people ask that. I can see the question marks above your head. What is this Mischief Maker Show for some of our first-time viewers? Well, when you go to the QR code, you can find out about that. Now, here's another secret for live listeners, is that you can ask questions. So as we were talking with Will, and there's something I'm missing, which is, it's going to happen, please step in, and Mel is going to make sure that it's germane to our topic, and he will include it. It'll be written across the bottom, and then will respond in one way or another. And where there's a will, there's a way. So we have a song right now. I write music, and it's something that I've been doing for quite a while. And it's called Spin the Globe. This is about taking your child anywhere in the world when they turn 15. And I did that with all four of our children. And when you listen to the song, you'll kind of get a sense of the genesis behind this particular idea that I implemented with all four of our children. And our grandchildren are coming up, got three of them, no, three grandchildren. That might be four someday, hopefully. But three grandchildren, probably do the same thing with them when they turn 15. Anyway, let's go to that song right now, Spin the Globe.
"15 candles, all our stuff is packed. Maps laid out, no turning back. One last adventure, just you and me, before the road calls, before you're free." From Mark Twain's pages emerged the thought of beliefs taught and values caught. Prejudice fades where horizons bend. You'll see for yourself, it will become your good friend. Spin the globe, think and probe, before you fly on your own two wings. Let's talk about life, discuss bigger things. Respect, love, and the years ahead. Anywhere in the world at that. Backpack stuffed, journals in tow, writing down stories as we'd go. Jerusalem lights or Sydney streets, deserts or jungles, mountains or reefs. The road teaches more than books can say. How people live, how strangers pray. We walked through history, tasted the past, laughed at our stumbles, made memories that last. Now you're driving, working fast food late. Life is fleeting, but this won't fade. You'll watch the news with different eyes. You'll see the people, not just the size. Spin the globe, think and probe, before you fly on your own two wings. Let's talk about life, discuss bigger things. Respect, love, and the years ahead. Anywhere in the world with that. So here's to parents who take the chance to walk with their kids through a foreign dance. It's not just travel, it's planting seeds of love, of trust, what they'll need.
There are benefits of taking your kids anywhere in the world, and I encourage any aunts, uncles, grandparents, parents to consider this with your children's nephews, nieces, grandchildren, whatever it might be, because the benefits before the trip it just brings in such geographic literacy. It also, a young kid, I started around 6 or 7 with each one of the children. It helps them to, they're now making choices. They're watching videos about China, about different parts of the world, Moscow, or whatever it might be, and then they have to make a choice. And if they go here, they can't go there. And then furthermore, what I did with the children is they all had to come up with $300. So there's some sweat equity. And then at one point in the trip, each trip, I said, we're on this plane, or we're on this ship, or we're experiencing this whatever, because you washed windows, you babysat, you shoveled snow, whatever the situation was. And it was just such a sense of we did this together. And then why 15? Because that's just before they get their car license and pretty much gone. So anyway, there's a website called tripswithdad.com, which can give you all that information. But and one day we'll write a book with all the journals of the kids. And I hope you enjoyed that song. Will Crossley, come on, let's get this party started here. Will.
Hi, Joel. How are you?
Oh my, welcome. You're in Piney Woods, Mississippi, right, at this moment?
I am indeed in Piney Woods, Mississippi. Let me say, after that song and after your comments, a belated Happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for having us on. We're delighted to be here. Yeah, we're in Piney Woods, Mississippi, just outside of Jackson. About 21 miles south of Jackson. Mm-hmm. And delighted to be able to share the work that we've been doing. This is our 117th year.
Wow.
Continuous service. And we're just pleased that we're able to keep making a difference in the lives of young people.
Now, I want to kind of key in on you at this moment, just because you have been such an inspiration to so many people. And you became a lawyer, still a lawyer, I assume, and you have so many options, so many choices in front of you, and yet you chose to be at Piney Woods, and with all the ups and downs and all arounds that come with the boarding school, if you will, people living there, coming from all around the country and maybe different parts of the world, I don't know. Tell us a little bit take us back to your childhood, how many kids in your family, your parents, neighborhood, where you grew up.
Okay, we're going there. Yeah, so I was born in Chicago. Mm-hmm. Didn't know growing up as a kid on the south side of Chicago that the south side of Chicago is the north side of Mississippi. And because of the Great Migration, mm-hmm. so many people in northern cities like Chicago migrated up, and as had my family. My dad actually was born here in Mississippi, but I didn't know this until I actually came to Piney Woods. And so, growing up in Chicago, I had a good childhood initially, and early on, I might have been second or third grade. Don't remember clearly, but early on, my mom and dad split, and honestly, my dad had a problem with alcohol, mm-hmm. And so they split. And I'll just give the ending to that part of the story now. While I was a student at Piney Woods, they actually reunited. Wow. And remained together for the rest of his life. My dad just passed away February 17th of this year.
My goodness.
And so that story had a good ending. But when they split, my mother was trying to figure out how to care for myself, and I have 3 sisters. And so,
you youngest, oldest, in the middle?
I'm in the middle. I have 1 older and 2 younger. Mm-hmm. And so my mother was trying to figure out how to care for initially 3, but then 4 kids, and so we moved around a lot. We had to leave the family home, and we initially moved in with my maternal grandmother. We called her Big Mama, and but Big Mama had had carried 15 kids of her own.
Oh my goodness.
So Big
Wow.
Mama's house got crowded real fast, and so we couldn't stay there too long, and we had to move in with another aunt, my aunt Linda. There, I shared my bedroom was the living room sofa that I shared with my cousin David, and and we couldn't stay there forever, obviously, so we had to move in with my aunt Missouri, and we stayed in the basement over the cellar, and
This all in the Chicagoland area?
all in Chicago area. And so as a result of all of these moves, and I was changing schools constantly between first grade and seventh grade. I believe we changed schools about 8 times, sometimes going back to the same school because we had moved back to that neighborhood. And so again, you don't know it at the time, but you don't have stability, and you don't really have a network and a culture that you're building. And when I was 12 years old, someone at our local church, my mom's thinking about high school and thinking what's going to happen with my children. Someone at our local church told us about Piney Woods School.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, and so we looked into it. There was no internet the way we know it now, so you couldn't go to the website. We got brochures, and we looked into it, and I was accepted, received scholarship, and I arrived on the Piney Woods School campus 1 week after my 13th birthday.
Wow.
And this place changed my life. I would go on, as you mentioned in your opening, to work as an attorney and serve in all kinds of roles. But this place had changed my life, and so that was part of my formative years in my growing up.
Now, in your family, 3 sisters and one son and one brother, I guess, is in an alcoholic type family situation, people play different roles to survive.
Yeah.
What role did you play in the family? The court
wow.
jester, the serious one?
Yeah. I think I've always been a little bit of a serious one. But also willing to have fun. I was still young at the time. Probably 7 years old, something like that. And so I wasn't immersed in it. But you knew things weren't right in the home. You knew late at night, there was arguments and lots of things going on. And so my mom, she handled it about as well as one could. And I think as children, we also were, we gave her something to fight for, something to, so I think being a part of that was part of what I did. I'll say that, my dad later, he later gave up smoking, he later gave up drinking. And even during those early days when, after he and my mom split, he did all he could to still be responsible. He picked me up on the weekends, and what I knew of my dad is he drove a truck for a living, and he delivered around the city of Chicago. He delivered to grocery stores and fast food restaurants, and so in the summers he would pick me up and I would ride with him as he delivered and went around town. So
what did he deliver? Groceries or?
Yes, but mostly chicken.
Huh.
I almost have this whiff of this smelly chicken coming back to me, and I just and so I just remember driving and delivering. But he had some hard times too. My dad lost his job doing that. He got a job with another delivery company. And he was typically the last to let go because he was such a hard worker. And when the economy really tanked, back in the kind of early '80s, I think it was. He had a hard time finding work, and one day we were driving through the coldest. Chicago, it gets cold in Chicago, really cold, and it had to be one of the coldest days I could remember. The inside of the window was frosted over.
Oh my goodness.
And I remember pulling into a gas station and wiping the frost off the window and looking out and seeing my mother had been driving. I looked out and I saw my dad was working at the gas station, and he was pumping gas. And one of the things I learned from my father, whatever came, whatever circumstance arose, he believed in the value. He believed in the dignity of hard work, and of not giving up. And I say, as I say, he and my mother later reunited, and the story ended well.
So you arrived at 13 at this place called Piney Woods.
Yeah.
Were you kind of cajoled into going, forced into going, or is it something?
No, not at all. Actually, I was, given what I was dealing with in Chicago, I mean, we hadn't even gotten to some of the challenges I was dealing with at the age of 12 years old. Oh man, it's all kind of gang recruitment that was happening. It was hard to get from the schoolhouse, to home, to wherever we were living at the time.
Wow.
I got chased home a number of times. I later joined the track team, and so it was worth something, I guess. But you get confronted, and I understand why people join gangs. I understand why people seek protection from the company of others. I understand why people seek belonging in those kinds of spaces, and all of that was happening simultaneously as these other things were occurring. And so Piney Woods represented a safe haven for me. It represented an opportunity because I believed I had more to offer, more than the opportunities that were being made available to me at that time in Chicago. And so Piney Woods was my safe haven. My mother presented it, and it didn't take me long to say yes, let's go. Now, two things I'll say about that real quick, Joe. First of all, I didn't come alone. My sister, who was 1 year ahead of me in school, she actually came to Piney Woods at the same time that I did it. So she and I sort of came as a family. I didn't know at the time, but my sister had said, "I don't think I want to go down to Mississippi." And so once my mother got my thumbs up, she went back and told my sister, "I can't send your brother down there by himself." And so I was grown by the time I learned that story, but that's what happened there. The other thing I'll say about that is that I don't know in my 12-year-old mind that I fully appreciated what a boarding school was. We had moved so many times as a family that I just thought we were moving again, right? And so once they got us down here and they dropped us off, as my parents were getting back in the vehicle preparing, it hadn't dawned on me at that point that they weren't going to be a part of this. This move didn't involve.
And there's no FaceTime back then either.
Yeah, no FaceTime.
So you get there, and then you come through the. I mean, was it kind of Spartan back then?
Yeah, I excelled here. I came in the 8th grade, and I graduated high school here.
How many students? You kind of give us an idea.
This community, at that time, we had about 300 students.
Wow.
on campus, and but it's big enough that you have a small community, but small enough that you pretty much know everybody, and so you're able to build strong relationships. One of the wonderful things about Piney Woods is that the people I went to school with in all of those years are people I'm still connected with in some way today.
Wow, that's strong.
We like to say that we are siblings. We are brothers and sisters for life, and we truly are, because we've had this formative experience together. We've been on this campus. We sleep in the same student houses here. We eat we eat in the same dining room here. We play sports together. We go to class together. We worship together in church. You have this experience that is literally unforgettable. And so one of the things I love about what I do now is, as I travel and as I go places, sometimes I'll put something out on socials saying, "Hey, I'm going to be in this place." I don't know that I've ever been to a place where there's not a Piney Woods alum somewhere nearby, and to have that community, which now stretches around the globe, to have that community is a unique and powerful thing, and so I'm grateful for having had this experience.
Yeah, I ran. Now you're the CEO president. How long have you been doing this now? And tell us a little bit about that story. Because you're in this high-powered law firm or wherever. And did they recruit you? Did you say, "Hey, I'm thinking about this"? How'd that happen?
No. Well, yes and no. So I've not. Piney Woods had given me a start, of which I said I was really grateful for. I got to go to University of Chicago as an undergraduate student. It's an amazing university. Getting through the University of Chicago was one of the most challenging things I did in life, but it was one of the most rewarding things. And I think that's kind of what Piney Woods was for me. It was hugely challenging.
Isn't that the way it works?
Rewarding. Yeah.
The most
absolutely.
challenging comes the most rewarding. It's not that way when you're there, maybe all the time, but later on as you reflect back.
Exactly.
Toughest us teachers are the best teachers.
That's exactly right. And I see it now. Every once in a while I get to teach a class and I see it in my students. They don't like it at the beginning of the class, but by the end, they're grateful for what they've learned. But yeah.
Well, as a teacher, you don't smile until Christmas, right?
Can you smile at Christmas? Maybe Easter. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe Easter. No, but yeah. And then from Chicago, I got to go to Harvard, as you mentioned, and then teach school. When I was teaching school on the South Side of Chicago, I wanted to re-engage my community. I always had this thing of knowing, once I got to the University of Chicago, I knew that I had a privilege that most of the kids who grew up in my neighborhood in Chicago would never have, had never had. My big mama's home was about a 15-minute drive from the University of Chicago. And I, growing up, didn't even know it was a university. No one else in our family had gone to college. And so no one from that neighborhood goes to a public school in Chicago and then suddenly finds themselves, that's extremely rare. And so I knew that I had been given an opportunity. And so I always had this sense of, I want to create a world that's a little bit more fair, that creates a little bit more opportunity for people who perhaps grew up like I grew up, to be able to reach the next thing. And so I decided to go back to Chicago and teach school, and I taught at Chicago Public Schools. While I was doing that, I tried to get involved in community affairs, and I found myself on the west side of Chicago, and the alderman out there said, "Why are you over here when you live on the south side? You ought to just contribute on the south side." And I said, "Well, I'm just trying to find my way." And he said, there's a guy running for state senate over there. And he couldn't pronounce his name, and he said, "But I think he needs some help, and you may want to go and volunteer with him." And that turned out to be Barack Obama.
Huh.
He was running for.
There's a guy. I know a guy.
He was running for Illinois Senate from the district that I lived in and taught in on the south side of Chicago. And I actually went down and volunteered at his office, at his campaign office. It was a storefront office on 79th Street on the south side of Chicago, and 71st Street on the south side of Chicago. And so that, that kind of effort just continued to grow. I actually asked him at the time about going to law school, and he encouraged me. I ended up going to University of Virginia for law school, and then found myself in another realm. I clerked for federal judges. I did a teaching fellowship at Emory Law School. I had a chance to practice at a big firm in Washington, D.C. I had a chance to represent members of Congress, to represent the Democratic National Committee, and ultimately served as presidential appointment in Washington. So while I was doing that, Piney Woods had fallen on some difficult times. And I did get a call asking me if I could help. At the time, I was just going to join the board. I said yes to doing that. And shortly after I said yes to that, I got another call saying the then president was leaving mid-year.
Wow.
And asking me if I could help further. And so I agreed to leave what I was doing in Washington and come
all the way to Piney. We've got to take a break here.
Okay, yeah, yep.
But when we come back, I want you just kind of remember what you were just saying.
Yeah.
But I also want to unpack the ups and downs of leading a school.
Yeah.
With kids, all personalities, all kinds of backgrounds, and everything else. I ran a school for a few years, and K through 12, and it was challenging. I got stories to tell. And you don't have to tell too many stories, whatever you're comfortable. When we come back, and then also want to unpack Lawrence C. Jones.
Absolutely.
And some drama around him almost being lynched.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, I can't wait, folks. Hold on. We're going to take a break for our sponsor, and we come back. We got some real cool stuff to talk about.
I traveled throughout much of Egypt, creating detailed sketches of ancient ruins. Many of those drawings ended up in the magnificent Description de l'Égypte. Help the Rosetta Stone Traveling Exhibit Project transform an ancient artifact, the Rosetta Stone, into a modern metaphor for problem solving. Make it a priority.
Well, we have the Rosetta Universe. We're very grateful that they have that they're a sponsor of this show. What we've done, Rosetta Universe, is something I think you'll really enjoy learning about in the QR code above, and also Mel, if you can put that question down just for a second, and then we'll come back to it in a little bit. But we also have a belt I designed. And this is in honor of Jack Johnson, the boxer, the first black heavyweight champion. Just look at the detail, the bling. The only way to get this is to donate to our foundation. And once you donate to the foundation, there's a number, on the QR code. If you go to rosettauniverse.com, just click on the belt, and it'll take you to a place to donate. We're only making 700 of these worldwide. And we're using every penny to go toward the Rosetta Universe project. And it's an initiative that you'll learn more about on the website. Well, let's come back. Mel, if you could hold that question. It looks like a dynamite question, but I want us to finish talking about what we were discussing before. So you remember where we were
Yeah, I
and
do.
could
I
take
do.
it from there?
Let me get us to Lawrence Jones because I think that's really great.
Okay.
I'll do it this way. You asked me about coming back to Piney Woods after having a career in Washington, and the short of it is that I was asked to consider this, and uh, we we declined multiple times because it wasn't the plan that we had set out professionally, me and my family. Um, but I prayed about it. I spent a lot of time and really believed that it was what God called us to do in that moment. And so we were just answering the call. And I'll say this about the decision to come here. It really was a reflection of what I learned as a student, which I now teach our students here. And it was a lesson that Lawrence C. Jones first began teaching students in 1909 from his own story and from his own work. That to whom much is given, much is required. And so the decision to return to this place to do this work, it was not out of charity, but it was not out of it certainly wasn't forced, but it was a reflection of the responsibility that I believe I'd had because the people of Piney Woods had given me more than I could count. And so it was only fitting that those of us who benefited from this experience are part of ensuring that future generations will as well.
So the story about Lawrence C. Jones, I mean, folks, if you can just go to YouTube, not now, right after the show, write this down. Lawrence, L-A-U, not L-A-W, L-A-U-R-E-N-C-E, Lawrence C. Jones, and look at a show called This Is Your Life. It's easily found on YouTube. And just spend, I think it's a half-hour show, spend this half hour watching about Lawrence C. Jones and what he did and who he was. The story that really grips me, in fact, I just finished touching up a story about this, and you and I can talk later about how to utilize it as a fundraiser for Piney Woods. But he was, to my knowledge, the only person who was surrounded by racist white KKK, whatever, and they were going to lynch him. And one guy, because he was preaching in a church and he was talking, and they thought that he was kind of a rabble rouser and getting people all stirred up, all the black members of that area at the church. And then they grabbed him, they tied him up, they're ready to kill him, to lynch him. And then one guy, I think he probably had an attitude of, let's let him talk. And Lawrence C. Jones began to tell the story about the guy at the lumber mill that was going to donate wood to build Piney Woods, build some buildings. And they say, yeah, we know who he is. And then talked about the guy at the grocery store who's going to help bring food for students. And all these different things. Yeah, we know who he is. Next thing you know, one of the guys takes his hat off, and I believe they raised $52. Now, back in the early 1900s, $52 was a lot of change, a lot of money. And they released him, and to me, that's one of the most astonishing stories when you look at the whole picture of lynching and everything else. Do you want to take it from there?
Yeah. So, folks has always wondered, what really happened there, and today somebody would have taken a video with their cell phone, right? We don't have the benefit of that, but yeah, no, that's exactly right. Lawrence Jones was an extraordinarily rare college graduated black man in the rural deep in the Jim Crow racially segregated Deep South, who was able to start a school and get it supported. And one of the things that's really interesting about that is the first major donor to our program was also a Black man. It was Ed Taylor Nelson, and Ed Nelson had been born a slave here in Mississippi, and after the Civil War went north and did well. He came back and bought land, and so he saw Lawrence Jones teaching that one student
Under the oak tree.
under a cedar tree. Yeah,
Cedar tree. That's
oak
right.
cedar
You're
tree,
right.
on a fallen log. And so he saw the determination that Lawrence Jones had and the level of commitment that he had. And so he decided to help him. And so Ed Taylor donated the 40 acres of land that they were sitting on at that time. He donated an old sheep shed that was on that 40 acres, and he donated a sum of $50, which, as you say, was a nice piece of change in that day and time. Prior to that, Lawrence Jones had arrived in Mississippi with $1.65 and a Bible. And so one of the things that's really important,
And he's Kathy Hughes' grandfather, for people who don't know that connection, right? Go ahead. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No, I say one of the things about this kind of history is that it teaches us, right? If today we sit on over 2,000 acres of land.
My goodness.
And so
That's
if Lawrence
crazy.
Jones could start with $1.65, right, and give us what we have today. You mentioned Kathy, his granddaughter, Kathy Hughes. You know, Kathy Hughes she was sleeping on the floor of a radio station.
Yeah.
Right. And now, she's, her network reaches, more Black people in this nation than any other venue. And so that history teaches our children what's possible. It teaches them the rewards of perseverance and commitment and resilience. And so, so he got started that way, but after the donations from Ed Taylor, as you said, there was a local lumber mill owner donated the first lumber for a building to be built outside of the log cabin sheep shed, and he was white. He was a white local owner right down the road here. But he wasn't the only one. Lawrence Jones had come to Mississippi from Iowa, and going to school in Iowa, as a Black man, he had learned how to build good relationships with people, and many of those happened to be white. And so he used a lot of those lessons in building a network of people to support this work. And so 9 years into it is when this lynching episode occurred. And by that time, he had built a network, both Black and white, that allowed Piney Woods to move forward.
Wow.
There were 6 people that signed the original charter of Piney Woods School with the state of Mississippi in 1913. 3 of them were Black and 3 of them were white. One of them was Major Millsaps, famous for Millsaps College. And so Lawrence Jones had built a network of people like that, of people like the mill owner, of people like the owner of the bank that was existing down here in Braxton, Mississippi, of military folk like Major Millsaps, who was starting some other things in education. And so, yes, he told them that the work that he was doing, these folks were involved in it and they were backing it, and that work was work that was going to lift the entire community. Right?
And then there's the girls, Kathy Hughes' mother, who went out playing trombones and everything else at all kinds of churches and fairs or whatever, and just spreading the word.
The International Sweethearts of Rhythm. I'm probably not supposed to do this but let me see. I think I have Here's one of their
Oh, look at
albums,
that.
the International Sweethearts of Rhythm. This
And
was
point her out. Point out her Kathy Hughes' mom.
oh goodness, Miss Helen. I don't know if she's in this photograph
Okay.
because it changed over the years.
Yes,
But we do have one with her on it.
I've seen it.
Yep.
Go ahead. I interrupted you there.
But that's okay. No, the International Sweethearts of Rhythm was the first all girls interracial jazz ensemble in the United States of America.
Wow.
And it was born right here at Piney Woods School.
And the inspiration came from the Fisk Jubilee singers, right?
Dr. Jones, he didn't believe in reinventing the wheel. If it'll work somewhere else, maybe it'll work here. And so he did that, and they were black and white and Asian and Latina, and they would go on to actually be based out of Washington D.C. They'd go on to sing for the USO, sing for the military. When they were stationed overseas. We had a feeder baseball team born here at Piney Woods School. It was a feeder team to the Negro Leagues.
Really?
It was called the Giant Collegians, and we played against other colleges. And in those days, Piney Woods had what was called a junior college. Now they call them community colleges. Mm-hmm. And so we play against other colleges around, and we fed people into the Negro Leagues in places like Kansas City and Chicago, and so the Piney Woods has a story history. The Piney Woods School was the first school in the state of Mississippi to teach Braille. We had the first blind school in the state of Mississippi, and Lawrence Jones invited Helen Keller here.
Wow.
And together that resulted in the start of the Mississippi School for the Blind. Mm-hmm. As it exists today. And so, Piney Woods has a storied history in the state of Mississippi, and for our alumni who now come from all over the country and all over the world.
Well, we have Alice Quinda. She says, I'm listening from South Africa. My son, Theo Quinda, attends school at Piney Woods. I'm so grateful and thankful to Mr. Will, Miss Renee. I love Miss Renee. The teachers, the coaches, and all the staff members. My son has become the most responsible child a parent can ask for. The love at the school, the assistance, the school communication is beyond this world. Even though I'm miles away, I don't feel the distance because the level of communication, the opportunity they give the students are amazing, and I'm beyond grateful. Wow. Well, that must bring tears to your eyes just to have that kind of response.
That is so awesome. Yeah. Ms. Quinda, thank you so much. Thank you for listening and being a part of this community. It's one thing about people don't understand what we do. They often think a kid must have gotten in trouble, and that's how they ended up down in boarding school. And that's not what we do at all. Piney Woods, we'd be better thought of as a boarding academy. Mm-hmm. We sent our first graduating class that Lawrence Jones had back. All of them went to college. Mm-hmm. For the last 10 years, we've gotten every student graduated from Piney Woods admitted into somebody's college or to military service, and we're really proud of that record. And so the son of the woman, I know him very well. He's a young man. He sings in our choir and he's also around campus, and just an amazing young man. And so we're pleased now to serve kids from the U.S., but from places like South Africa and Rwanda and Ethiopia and Ghana and the Congo, and we really do have the entire diaspora. In some form or fashion, East Africa, South Africa, West Africa, all now represented in what we do here at Piney Woods every day.
Now, Lawrence gets a lot of credit, but what about Grace? Grace Morris Allen Jones. Can you talk about her and her impact?
Grace deserves more credit. Grace deserves more credit because Grace had already started a school in Iowa before Lawrence Jones went up and married her and dragged her down to Mississippi. I can't talk about dragging to Mississippi. My wife may resonate with that. But no. So she already knew how to do this. She had already done it. Honestly, she gave her life to this work and to this institution, and not just to the education of kids. She did the education work, but she was instrumental in starting a lot of these singing groups that would go around the country raising money. And she was instrumental in, she started a mother's network.
Wow.
Here in Mississippi, Black moms. And one of the things that they did in those days, do you know Piney Woods had the first integrated hospital in Rankin County, Mississippi?
I did not know that.
It's the first hospital that allowed all to come. And in those days, Black people were often born at home via midwives. And so one of the things they had to do was they had to teach midwives how to take the best records and how to keep them safe. Because a lot of people who were being born in those earliest days, they weren't keeping good records. And so people couldn't even tell you for sure the day and the year that they were born. And so Grace did a lot of work like that all throughout the community. She was instrumental in founding Oakley. It's a school here. It's actually an alternative school here. And she said, look, even kids who've gotten into trouble need to continue to get an education. And she was instrumental in helping found that. So.
I want to talk after we read from Renee. Today, Piney Woods is one of the only 4 remaining historic Black boarding schools in the nation, drawing students from across the United States and internationally. Thank you, Renee. Thank you for that historic note. On that note, a lot of institutions die after the founder passes away. And this is kind of a setup for another element I want to go into. So when Lawrence C. Jones passes away, what do you give to the staying power of this school? 117 years? And to be able to continue, not just survive, but thrive since then.
Yeah, so I appreciate you asking. Yeah, we've had some tough times since then, and perhaps others would have said Piney Woods has served its time. And but we knew that the thing that we were founded on was a thing that was still needed. That there are children in this nation right now, there are children in this world right now whose potential and whose promise is undervalued by others. And we knew that Piney Woods was established to create an opportunity for exactly those young people. And so we still have work to do. And so I think it's adherence to a core mission that is relevant to the community in which one lives that allows a thing like this to continue. Piney Woods wasn't born from a lot of money. It wasn't born from some rich families getting together and saying, we're going to start a school. It was born to serve that cause, and it was born out of a spirit of resilience and a spirit of perseverance. Joe, we have been hit by 6 tornadoes in our history.
Oh my goodness.
And what we've done is, instead of running from it, we decided to make our mascot the tornado. And so whatever comes, right? Whatever comes our way, whatever happens, we stay committed to mission. We pursue a way of life, and life here at Piney Woods is an acronym that stands for love. We practice love in every way, every day, everybody. Love, integrity, faith. We have the deepest faith in everything we do every day, and excellence, love, integrity, faith, and excellence. We pursue excellence on everything we do, and big and small. And so those are the key ingredients. This notion, Lawrence Jones again started this with very little. And if you look at the tenets, if you look at the principles, if you look at the values that undergird the work and the mission and the life of the Piney Woods School, those are the same values and principles that that say we can be responsible for our own uplift, right? That we can be sustainable. Right now, this campus is working toward the greatest sustainability that it can find. We grow food. Our kids grow food in our gardens on our farm, which we then use in our dining services, which we then sell at farmers markets. We have a rural water system which we own and operate here on our campus. We have our own sewer system that we own and operate here on our campus. We've started a solar array so we can be producing our own power, and we're teaching these kinds of sustainability practices, not just for someone to carry out, but for a way of living. To our young people. And I think that it's that spirit, it's that kind of spirit that has allowed Piney Woods to continue, long after Lawrence Jones had moved on.
It's a Booker T. Washington type of spirit. And the thing is that you are facing a kind of a transition, not away from Piney Woods, but actually staying where you are, but showcasing Piney Woods as a body of proof for the philosophy behind and embedded in the Woodson Center. Bob Woodson just passed away. Tragic. I mean, I'm still reeling from it. Considering he was a dear friend, and for him to pass away at this time, 83 years of age. And now you are stepping in to that position of leading and guiding that also, but kind of melding it together with Piney Woods.
Yeah. So, Bob Woodson was not only a friend and not only a supporter of the work of Piney Woods.
Fundraiser.
I frankly don't know where we'd be without him. But he was also a mentor to me in so many ways. He and I had some differences, but he was a mentor to me in so many ways. And and having lost him just after losing my dad, I'm still struggling with all of that. But yeah, what Bob said to me, what he said publicly, is, Will, as you're coming to lead this work at the Woodson Center, I don't want you to leave Piney Woods. I want you to bring Piney Woods with you.
Wow.
And so the Piney Woods and the Woodson Center coming together allows us to lift this work, lift these principles, lift these values, lift this success higher, and hold it out as a solution, to some of the ails. Some of the things that ail our communities all across this nation.
We have about 1 minute left, and what young person listening right now, maybe overwhelmed by obstacles, what lessons from your own life, from Lawrence C. Jones, from Grace, from the whole history, can you share to that person?
Yeah, faith in something bigger than yourself. I could not do this work. I don't think Lawrence Jones could do this work. I don't think anyone does this kind of work well if it's fundamentally about them. And what I've learned is that if you're fighting for something bigger than yourself, you can have an impact that outlasts you. And that's what Bob Woodson did throughout his life. He fought for causes and principles that were bigger than himself. And that's going to allow his work to continue. The Piney Woods story is not over. It's not done. It didn't end with Lawrence Jones. It only started. And it won't end with me, because everyone who's doing this work, everyone who's a part of this work, we're all fighting for something that's much bigger than ourselves. It's remaining faithful to that cause.
Yes.
It's remaining faithful to that cause that allows us to truly to truly achieve success.
Well, when I talk with people, I listen for words, very important. But even deeper than that, I listen for the music behind the words, the passion, the sincerity of heart. All I can tell you is in this past 50 minutes or so, I have heard a lot of music behind every word you've spoken, and it really has made a wonderful impact on me. And I think the Woodson Center, Piney Woods, very blessed and fortunate to have you on board. Thank you so much for all you do for so many.
Thank you, Joe. I really appreciate it. Let me invite all of your listeners to check us out at pineywoods.org. And become a part of this community by applying to come to school here, or by supporting every young person receives a scholarship here. And so we do this with more than just us and for far more than just us. So thank you. Thank you for allowing us to share our work.
When this goes to podcasts, pineywoods.org is going to be all over this video.
Awesome. Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bless you.
You have just experienced another episode of the Mischief Maker broadcast. Hit the subscribe button. Connect at chiefmischiefmaker.com. Thanks for coming along for the ride. And hopefully, you are now a bit closer to becoming a mischief maker in your part of the world.